What happens when a president's inner circle starts questioning the influence of one of his closest aides, with even his son reportedly raising concerns? A new book by journalist Michael Wolff claims Donald Trump's relationship with longtime aide Natalie Harp has become so unusual that senior staff, the Secret Service, and even the president's family are alarmed. The U.S. president is rarely seen with 35-year-old Harp, who is officially the executive assistant to Trump. However, she is often called by the critics as Trump's diaper changer and human printer. According to Irish Star, Wolff in his book All or Nothing claims Harp pulled major moves to stay with Trump, including living in the locker room of the president's New Jersey golf club to stay close to him. According to Wolff, in 2023, Trump's aides were mockingly referring to Harp as the chief of staff. By 2024, there was a near revolt against her by his top aides, including Susie Wiles, who is currently White House chief of staff. As days passed, Natalie and Trump reportedly became so inseparable that she was captured by news cameras almost everywhere around the POTUS, so much so that Trump's son Eric also became concerned, but was brushed off by the president himself. According to Wolff, Trump told his son, and I quote, "She just loves her president." About Harp, Wolff wrote, and I quote, "You have to understand the extreme anomaly here, the weirdness of it all. The candidate is at all times attended by an openly besotted young woman. Love letters she's written to Trump are uncovered and passed around. Staff members snap pictures of her mooning looks at Trump. The Secret Service expresses its concern." In his book, Wolff claimed that Harp reached out to the ground staff at the country club and got herself a maid's room. He added, and I quote, "And when they proved too far from the main house to respond quickly enough to Trump's calls, she relocated herself to the much closer women's locker room, where, with undiminished proximity to Trump, she would spend the summer." The author claims that Harp superseded the White House staff, and as well Trump's wife and family. A new viral footage has surfaced showing outgoing White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt in a tense-looking exchange with Harp during a Marine One interaction. A tense exchange involving outgoing White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt and Trump advisor Natalie Harp has sparked fresh speculation, with a lip reader now claiming to have deciphered parts of their conversation. The footage emerged just as Leavitt announced she was leaving the White House, prompting questions online about whether her departure was entirely straightforward. The 28-year-old White House press secretary announced on Wednesday that she would step down from her role at the end of August. She said the decision was driven by her desire to spend more time with her young family after welcoming her second child, daughter Viviana, in May. But shortly after the announcement, footage from what appears to be an earlier Marine One exchange began circulating online. In the clip, Leavitt can be seen sitting across from Natalie Harp, a political advisor to U.S. President Donald Trump and former television host. Trump is also present during the interaction. Leavitt appears to have her arms folded as she speaks with Harp, while both women can be seen looking at their phones at various points. At one moment, Leavitt gestures toward Harp and appears to become visibly animated during the conversation. As reported by the Mirror US, professional lip reader Nicola Hickling claimed to have interpreted portions of the exchange. According to Hickling's reading, Leavitt appears to ask, "Are you sure?" Harp then allegedly responds, "We don't like it. There's going to be an announcement as soon as possible, okay?" Leavitt appears to sigh and rub her arms before pointing toward Harp. Hickling then claims Harp says, "This has now happened twice." What the women were actually discussing remains unclear. There is no confirmation that the exchange concerned Leavitt's decision to leave the White House. It is also important to stress that lip reading is an interpretation, and there is no independent confirmation that the words identified are accurate or that the exchange had anything to do with Leavitt's resignation. The footage has nevertheless fueled online speculation because of its timing. Trump critic account Call to Activism shared the clip on X and claimed Leavitt appeared isolated during a tense exchange with Trump and another woman. The account questioned whether the White House was covering up something. Again, that is a claim, not an established fact. Leavitt's own explanation for leaving the White House has been much more straightforward. In her resignation statement, she described the decision as bittersweet and said that returning to the White House after the birth of her daughter had made her reassess how much time she could devote to the demanding position. Leavitt wrote that she had realized she could not be the best mother her two young children deserved, while also giving the White House press secretary role the constant time, energy, and attention it requires. Her older child, a son, is 2 years old. She had only recently returned to her briefing responsibilities after giving birth to Viviana in May. Leavitt's departure is notable because she made history as the youngest person to serve as White House press secretary. Trump himself announced her exit shortly before Leavitt's statement and offered a glowing endorsement. The president said he understood and respected her decision to spend more time with her family, but he also made clear that Leavitt would not be disappearing from his political orbit. He said she would become one of his top outside advisors and remain an influential voice within the Republican Party. Trump also suggested she would continue to work to help Republicans ahead of the midterm elections. The White House has not indicated that Leavitt's resignation was connected to any dispute with Harp or another member of Trump's inner circle, and no evidence presented in the footage establishes that Leavitt was being forced out. What the video does show is a private-looking conversation taking place around the president at a sensitive moment for the White House, and that has been enough to trigger a wave of speculation. The alleged lip reading has added another layer to the mystery, but without clear audio, the words cannot be independently verified. For now, Leavitt's official explanation remains that she is leaving because she wants to prioritize her family. The White House has yet to name her replacement, and while the Marine One footage is likely to fuel questions about what was really discussed, there is no confirmed evidence that the tense exchange changed, caused, or explains Carolyn Leavitt's decision to leave the White House.